All right, YouTube, this is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Now, I got an interesting topic because I think black people, foundational black Americans, Adolf, descendant of slaves, you black people, and indigenous people need to stick together. Y'all can watch the whole world outside of you go through ethnic cleansing and genocide, but you can't see it when it's right in your face. But on this topic, we're going to look at amalgamation and how these Puerto Ricans and the people from the Caribbean, they really want to co-opt our culture. They really think they're better than us. Most of the Puerto Ricans consider themselves white. You know what I mean? But they want to co-opt our culture. And they want to live among us, and they want to eventually overcome us and dominate us and merchandise to us like the eras before them and the other people before them. But I'm going to stay on topic tonight. I want you to check out Fat Joe. And I want y'all to see why they really mad at Tariq Nasheed for his video about the origins of hip hop. They needed that intricate piece. They was going to use that. You seen them start taking over BET, Bounce, Image Awards, or whatever. That's because they are working with the system. They want to bring they people over here and get their people those menial jobs that they think black people or niggas don't appreciate. Think about it. They're going to be working for them and all that. Where they put us. But check out, I want y'all to check out Fat Joe. Why y'all let Fat Joe get away with this? This for fair uses commentary on YouTube guidelines. But y'all check out Fat Joe. Why y'all let Fat Joe get away with this though?
This is stupid. You know real hip hop makes some motherfucking noise. New York, where the you at? Hey yo, you had to bring Remy to save you. This is pathetic. You got all mother dusty bitches. Let's go. Hold on. Let's not go there. Hey yo, check this out. Hey yo, crap.
No, he didn't say dusty bitches about Lil Mo now in front of the world. He would have never said that about J-Lo. He'd have had a fit if he'd have said something about J-Lo. Let's see if he's calling him out the name again.
Just the fact that Remy had to come out to say every fucking song got a feature, John. Hold up, Craig. I didn't see nobody come. Y'all seen somebody come out here with me? Oh, them I've been either. You gotta go to the crack house to find them bitches. Hold up, but let me tell you something, Craig. I've been either. You gotta go to the crack house to find them bitches. Hold up, but let me tell you something, Craig.
All right. I showed you that just to show you how we let other people come in and disrespect us. You know what I mean? Ja didn't say nothing about Remy Ma. He wasn't going to say nothing about her. Especially not calling that, but the Puerto Rican, he had no, that's what he really be thinking. That's what he really be thinking. It came out of him. I'm going to go to this other video. This is this guy. He's a doctor. I don't know what he's a doctor of, but it appears to be. These are some more Puerto Ricans and whatever, talking about hip hop, but they really, they're going at Tariq's video.
Okay, let me move back. So hopefully it'll stay cool.
All right. So before we get into the nitty, you're still freezing, and your internet connection is a little on the wobbly side.
Hold on.
Everything else is good to go. Shout out to Jizzo. Shy City.
All right, how's that?
Yes.
How's that?
Looking good. You're a little glitchy, but the sound and everything is there.
Yeah. It's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. But before we get going, once again, if you are watching from Facebook, we will not be checking the comments on Facebook, so you need to jump on over to @Unwrap on YouTube. So that's www.youtube.com/@unwrap. That's the only way we're going to be able to see your comments because I'm not jumping on Facebook and reading a bunch of comments. With that being said, sir, let the people know who you are and your credentials, all of that.
Am I still glitchy? That's the problem.
No, not right now.
Nope.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Let's keep it that way. So yeah, my name is Dr. Derrick Colon. A teacher, historian, a Christian, a scholar, a theologian, an apologist, a father, a husband, a lover of truth, and a lover of people. That's what I want to stress. A lover of people. I love people. And you'll see why I'm saying.
You know he finna start lying right now when he just said he all that shit. He just said he all of that. So you know he finna tell some humdingers now. Because he just told all them lies. He really finna play in our face. Now let's check him out.
And that. So,
Right.
that's
Real quick though, because of wherever you're sitting right now, it's like it's not a really bad reverb or anything, but
it's probably the room.
Yeah, definitely.
An echoey room. Yeah. Is there a way for me to get closer without my head getting chopped off?
Well,
Should I hold it?
You could hold it closer. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if that works. My good.
They should have had this shit they should have had this shit more together before they uploaded this shit, for real.
Yeah.
Can we just put them up there in like a bigger box?
We can. No, that's as big as the box gets right now. Yeah. All right. So, I'm just debating on should I keep you as this square or put you in a circle or.
I think that looks better right there.
Okay, there we go.
There we are. Alrighty.
All right.
My good.
See, when you use all that extra shit like they doing, you have those type of problems. You know what I mean? That's nothing but the damn app not working properly in the middle of a video. You know what I mean? I prefer to just set my computer up here and go with the iPad and it all be streaming, it all be live. And I can have my phone. Let me go get my phone. But hopefully by the time I come back, they got their shit together.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead and tell the people who you are, the credentials, the whole shit. My bad.
He did that already.
Okay. We can do it.
Yeah. How do I sound? Do I still sound echoey? It's the room.
Yeah. No worries. You're good to
It
go.
sounds airy, but it's okay. It's not an actual echo.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what am I
Lover of
telling you?
people.
Lover of people.
So, before I need to ask you, like, because I said in the beginning that I had seen the documentary, and then when I walked away from the documentary, I didn't take anything from it other than the elements of hip hop, right? Which I think that was your intent.
I agree.
And what do you think caused this firestorm of shit, for lack of better words?
If I'm honest, can you hear me at least decently?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. If I'm honest, it is this idea that the gall of a Puerto Rican trying to tell somebody else about their culture. That's the narrative. And I'm trying to figure out when has it been just their culture. That's what it is.
But isn't hip hop universal? Isn't it a universal culture? I mean, granted, it started in the United States, but isn't it?
No. See, we're going to stop right there. Now here comes the bullshit. Like, even when they say it's from the Bronx, what was our people doing with Muddy Waters down in the Delta, creating rhythm and blues and jazz? Before they even opened the borders to these people. Howlin' Wolf. Y'all seen Cadillac Records, The Temptations. Y'all seen Y'all seen what black culture really is. They want to take a piece of black culture that they feel is up for grabs. You know what I mean? They ain't got no Motown. That's why they always hollering the Bronx, the Bronx, the Bronx. What was they doing in Chicago before y'all start rapping and spinning on cardboard and doing shit y'all seen the old people do? That's the true culture that they're trying to steal. And at the same time, they'll give it to those immigrants that's coming across the border so that they will totally replace us. This is not a replacement theory. This is what you're seeing in front of you.
It's universal.
Yeah, it's universal. It has its origins in the Bronx. Certain people groups are participant.
See, I told you how he said that in. He said hip hop has its origins in the Bronx. When we were showing you rappers from the 40s rapping over music and dancing. Let's listen to some more.
And this constant need to prove that it belongs to a certain group of people. I'm not getting it. Maybe I'm slow. I'm just not understanding where they're getting this idea from. And keep in mind, these are people who are not from the city. So, that's where it stems from.
Do you think that geographically where they stand makes a difference?
Explain. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't give. I'm like, if somebody knows something, they know something. It doesn't matter where the feet are standing at. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're in fucking, I don't know, Hawaii, but if they know what they know, geographically, should it matter?
But did you mean that in the sense of saying, like, if somebody that's from the Bronx or at least from New York that would have been, alive around the time when things were kicking off, when it was conceived, if you will, that person would be educated and know, the culture deep down, as opposed to somebody who might live in Arkansas who just listens to hip hop and
The plot thickens. Cause I read something in Old Girl. I don't know. She giving me another kind of vibe. Check out Old Girl.
and might know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think two things. I think anybody can know about the history, and they could live in the backwoods of wherever. That's not my argument. My argument is that you're trying to tell somebody who lived there. All I can speak is my experience.
Right.
I lived there. I saw what I saw. The people who are speaking, some of them lived there. Some of them, but the way that they're talking, they really don't know the culture. They're saying stuff that is off the wall, and I'm like, but where are you getting this information from? Most of the time, it's probably Google or Wikipedia, YouTube, and they're just listening to the pioneers speak, and the pioneers can't even get the story correct. Right. And I'm not saying I'm the only one that has the story. I'm saying if the pioneers themselves are arguing amongst themselves, when are we ever really going to get a proper timeline? Because everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to be the creator. Everybody wants to be. And then once again, I've never said that Puerto Ricans are the creator of hip hop. What I said was Puerto Ricans created elements within the culture that cannot be denied.
And they've been a participant from the start.
Huh?
And they've been a participant from the start.
From the start.
Yeah.
And then...
See? That's what they threw in the monkey wrench. Did you hear him? They've been a participant. A participant sounds a whole lot different than co-creator I'm the co-creator and you're a participant. But she slid it in. She's trying to help him. You know, her agenda gonna come out in a minute. But I want to read this definition to y'all. Remember this word. Fifth column. You know, a building has like 4 columns usually, 4 corners. A fifth column, remember it's a terminology. Look it up. Okay, a fifth column is a group of secret sympathizers or supporters of an enemy that engage in espionage or sabotage within the lines or national borders. That's a fifth column. A fifth column is when you have somebody live right in the midst of you, appearing to be a column, but they really there for their own agenda or another political agenda. You understand? This is why it's very important to them to say they have a bigger piece of hip hop and they have a bigger piece of black culture, because they see their people, their Spanish people that's coming across that border going to dominate that workforce, which is only going to elevate them more. Now you'll see a whole audience for Latin rap. You know what I mean? Because ain't no audience so far rapping in Latin. I mean, that's isolated to amongst their culture. So check him out while he spin his web.
Then we have to deal with when is the start, as that whole subject. So, I'm gonna try and put this on my tripod because my arm is getting heavy. So I'm gonna try to talk loud.
So one interesting thing that's been going on since probably within the last 5 minutes, we've had 2 different comments. One person said that you're anti-black, and then we have another person saying that you're a great Christian. And I mean, we can debate, we can converse, we can argue, all kinds of things. But I think one ugly part of this is that it's black against Puerto Rican and this, that, and the third, when hip hop was birthed in the struggle. Like, there was a need for it because an outlet was necessary, absolutely necessary, from the strife and just grit and grime and poverty and just bullshit that people were dealing with. It was an outlet for blacks and browns in particular to be able to express themselves. So we all know that. On the last interview, I mentioned that even if you take the most poppy, glitzy, glamoury example of early hip-hop culture being the breaking movies, there was all types of people in those movies embracing the hip-hop culture. So even back then, you had that example. So I'm just not understanding why we can even lead with this type of hateful narrative.
Oh, this is just crazy.
I would ask Jen, what makes me anti-black?
Yeah.
And I'm asking that question to the person who put the comment. I need you to give me an example in the comment of something that I have said or done that makes me anti-black. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? And I'm going to give you the reasons for that. Do I still sound decent?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, you do. And then another thing that I was interested in your opinion on. I know that a lot of people have been saying that you said something, and they've been taking sound bites of different things and kind of creating things. Like, what do you feel about that? What do you have to say about that?
Well, let me address the first part first, and then don't let me forget what you just asked me, please, so I can get back to that. The first part, I'm anti-black. Okay. I'm from the Bronx. I've lived around black and Hispanic people my whole life. Some of my best friends. And I know they're going to, oh, well, people say that all the time. If I'm anti-black, I'm not going to hide that. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to live in the hood if I'm anti-black. I'm not going to...
Hold on. We finna rewind and backtrack to this Negro when he was finna say, Some of my best friends are black. He's finna say that. And he called himself. We're gonna back that up.
Our culture. So even back then you had that example. So I'm just not understanding why we can even lead with this type of hateful narrative.
This is just crazy.
I would ask Jen, what makes me anti-black?
Yeah.
And I'm asking that question to the person who put the comment. I need you to give me an example in the comment of something that I have said or done that makes me anti-black. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? And I'm going to give you the reasons for that. Do I still sound decent?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, you do. And then another thing that I was interested in your opinion on. I know that a lot of people have been saying that you said something, and they've been taking sound bites of different things and kind of creating things. Like, what do you feel about that? What do you have to say about that?
Well, let me address the first part first, and then don't let me forget what you just asked me, please, so I can get back to that. The first part, I'm anti-black. Okay. I'm from the Bronx. I've lived around black and Hispanic people my whole life. Some of my best friends, and I know they're going to, oh, well, people say that all the time. If I'm anti-black, I'm not going to hide that. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to live in the hood if I'm anti-black. I'm not going to live around black people. I'm not going to be around black people. Okay, so my sister is black. My sister is African American. My blood sister is African American. My cousins are African Americans. Obviously, part Puerto Rican, part African American. But if they walked the streets of Harlem, you would not know they were Puerto Ricans. Okay, this is my family. My mother is dark. My cousins are dark. People in my family are dark. So to accuse me, that's like reverse racism. It's like you're accusing somebody of being a racist and you're making racist statements. I have never said any of these guys were anti-Puerto Rican. I could, but and I don't need to go there. So we're gonna get some things straight tonight. I want you to know who I am.
That person,
and I want
that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That person that left the comment, he came back and said that you said we have no culture.
You said
okay.
We, you talking about you?
No, it literally said we.
Oh, okay.
I thought it did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he just said it. He just said another one.
That black people have no culture. He said I said that.
I'm assuming that's what we means. Yeah.
And he's asking the question now: do we have culture?
He's confusing me with Busta Rhymes, and Busta Rhymes didn't even say that. If you listen to the context of what Busta Rhymes actually said, he's talking about people of color brought culture to America. And he said, America don't have a culture. We bring the flavor to the culture. He's talking about black people, people of color. Yeah. And he includes Puerto Ricans. They don't like that. Number one. Number two, I have never said black people don't have a culture. What kind of foolish statement would that be?
Right.
First of all, I know, teacher, I know the contributions and what black people have contributed and created in this world. I know the invention.
We're going to stop there. So, if he knows all of this about black culture, as he states he does, then why doesn't he understand that it's unacceptable to say that Puerto Ricans helped create hip-hop, which they are identifying as modern culture? Because modern culture is going to always be with the young people So these are older people my age trying to co-opt the future generations' work and foundation. Think about it. We stand on the shoulders of Motown.
Teach that to my students.
Right.
So you don't even know me, and you're accusing me of something that is totally false. So I want you to point out, whoever you are, what video that was that I said that black people have no color. I need you to show me where that is.
He said,
because if I need to own it.
Right. He says that white girl you be with, who's actually, she's Puerto Rican, right? The white girl you be with said that you said it and you agreed with her. Can I say something real quick? Just because I need to get this shit off my chest.
I think I know what you're gonna say. Have mercy.
It would be dumbfounded for any person to think that Puerto Ricans do not have African descent. That is just like the most ridiculous shit ever. And I'm not taking any side. I'm just saying the Dominican Republic, the Caribbean, period. If anybody's going to say anything about race, please understand the slave trade before you even open up your mouth. Because I think that's one of the most important parts of all of this. Because if we're just going to say Puerto Ricans or anybody from the Caribbean, well, you might as well just count out like half the damn population of African Americans in this damn country. Because nobody, unless they're straight from Africa, is 100% African.
And it's trendy now to get those ancestry tests done, and
what they doing is creating a straw argument, a straw man. They attacking ethnocentrics. You know what I mean? Where you from and where you originate, how you descended. That's not even the topic. The topic is African Americans created hip hop. African Americans. Before the immigration, before they was even letting them in like that. Why is that so hard to accept? You just think about it. They be in competition with us ever since Jackie Robinson got in baseball. Then they went through the era where all of them wanted to box. They wanted to box Sugar Ray. They wanted to box Tommy Hearns and got whooped there. You know what I mean? They can't play basketball. You know what I mean? And outbox, so they can't even out-rap us at this point. When you always find a people showing you that they're against you, do like Maya Angelou say. Believe them. They always are in competition. Remember Roberto Duran, and he was so bad, and all the rest of them that came from down there, south of the border, jumping in the rain with Sugar Ray now. It's the same. It's a competition, and they want you to willingly accept being a co-partner or co-creator with them. And I don't know why you would do that. You don't got nothing as it is.
Everybody that I know that's got two black parents, those results are hilariously mixed.
Yeah. And also, too, if you're going to make a statement about Puerto Ricans or about anybody from the Caribbean, please do some homework on the slave trade and the routes of the slave trade and how it had affected all of these countries in the Caribbean, in South America. Because if we really want to talk about even that South America, there's Mexico, there's Brazil, there's so many countries that have been affected by the slave trade.
Yeah.
And there are Puerto Ricans,
This is what we saying. That they trying to keep with the false argument. Puerto Ricans as a group stick together and operate politically and economically to advance other Puerto Ricans. There's nothing wrong with that. They have their own foods that they like from the Caribbeans. They have their own culture. So when they came and started living around us, we already had a culture. We had bought our cultures from Mississippi, from Georgia, from the Carolinas. We always been here with culture and with drums. Think about that. We was always beating drums and having music and having culture and dancing. They come over and say, we helped create hip hop. No, you didn't.
Get me wrong, that don't associate with blacks, but even they're ridiculous in their thinking.
Yeah.
To think that they are not of African descent. And I just had to get that out there.
But even in the simplest form, those comments are causing very divisive.
I wish I could turn my camera around because I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican, so I don't even know, like, half this shit just blows my mind.
It's ridiculous. It's completely it's just distracting from the point of your documentary and the education that you provided. Because I told you at the end of the interview, what I appreciated about it was full of information, but we weren't distracted by bells and whistles. You stated your facts and you actually showed visual examples and evidence of what you were saying, and you moved on to the next point. So it's a vehicle for information and education about hip hop and nothing more. I mean, there was nothing in there that I would call racist, colonistic, none of that. I'm not sure. I just don't understand. I do not get it.
Yeah, so, and I appreciate the comments that both of you, made. And I would say the white girl that they're talking about.
Shout out to Lizzo.
She's Puerto Rican, 100%. And again, the only people that they're attacking are people with the light-skinned Puerto Ricans, because they're accusing us of wanting to be white. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. But what I do want to say, and I'm going to get very real right now, and forgive me, host of the show, but I'm going to get real right now.
Do your thing.
To accuse somebody of being anti-black because you don't like the information that I'm giving you. I'm talking about hip-hop. I'm not talking about anything else but the history of the culture. And because we include ourselves in the narrative, you want to say that's anti-black because you're saying I'm dismissing what you did in jazz, what you did in gospel, what you did in blues, what you did in rock and roll. I have never dismissed that, and I never will dismiss that. The fact of the matter is that African Americans have created some of the most powerful music on the planet Earth, and nobody can take that away. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about hip-hop culture. Now, I know, but it comes from those genres. All right, let's examine that a little.
Have at it, sir.
Yeah.
Before he explained, I think he missed that. If it comes from those genres, and you had nothing to do with those genres, then how did you help create it? You were a participant, as you said. That's what they're mad about.
So, James Brown. Let's talk about James. Who was he influenced by? He was influenced by New Orleans funk, Afro-Cuban music, and African rhythms. One of his first hits is a song called Bring It Up. And if you listen to that song, you will hear the Afro-Cuban influences. But we can go before James Brown, because now we're talking about, I don't see it, James. So when is this connection with Black musicians and Latino musicians? This happens in I believe it's the 50s at some point, and I could be wrong, 40s or 50s. It could be earlier than that, but I want to name some names. There's a man by the name of Mario Bausa. There's a man by the name of Cachao. There's a man by the name of Chano Pozo. There's a man by the name of Dizzy Gillespie, and there's a man by the name of Tito Puente. How do they all mesh? Because the only African American in the names that I just named is Dizzy Gillespie. So here is the story. Dizzy is friends with Mario Bausa, who is a Cuban, who came from Cuba, and he's part of the Chick Webb Band, which is a African-American jazz band. Dizzy Gillespie is part of that band. And Dizzy goes to Mario Bausa and asks him a question. He says, I want to put in my band, I'm creating a band, I want to put in my band the tom-toms. And Dizzy said, I didn't even know what the instrument was called. He's referring to the conga drums. He called them tom-toms. And he said, I didn't even know what they were called. So he said, I got the perfect person for you to meet. His name is Chano Pozo, and I'm going to bring you to his apartment in East Harlem. Spanish Harlem.
It's a Cuban guy. It's the Cuban guy. I just watched a documentary on him.
He's a Cuban guy.
Yeah.
He can't even speak English. So he starts trying to communicate with Dizzy. And they become fast friends. And Chano says to Dizzy, we can't communicate.
They want it bad to all the way go back and try to say that somebody outside of James Brown was influencing James Brown. They know nothing about Georgia, where he from back then. Wasn't no Fuentes and Sanchez's down in Georgia and Mississippi sharecropping. And if it was something down there, they wasn't playing no music. So y'all got to think about what these guys are saying and how deep it is. James Brown was born in the 40s in Georgia. Deep South. Before civil rights, any of that. It wasn't no Fernandez's and Sanchez's hanging around with them brothers down there. None at all. You believe that? You believe that? Now, this Gillespie might have met a man at a club where they was drinking, and he might have been Latino, playing some bongos.
Communicate very well with our voices. But the one thing that unites us is we are both Africans. And Dizzy was like, yeah. Now Chano comes to Dizzy. And he says, I have an idea. Again, broken English, real broken. He just kind of like, I want to do this.
He almost trying to make you think he was there sitting there listening to Dizzy now, huh? Look at his life. I told you when he first started, when he first opened up, go back to play this video again and how he opened up and how he introduced himself. He said he's everything but Jesus.
Kind of a sound, and so he starts creating the sounds with his voice of the bass, of the instruments in this song that came to be known as manteca. And manteca is the first time you see the Afro-Cubans and the African Americans come together to create a song. Before that, Dizzy himself said, we were not playing bass the way he gave me the arrangement. We were playing boom, 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 regular bass. We didn't have the Afro-Cuban instruments in our groups. This starts this whole, again, here we go, together. Latinos and African Americans, stop, together. Siri is annoying. And so you start having them playing. So the African American bands are going to the Palladium to watch the mambo dancers and to watch the Afro-Cuban performers perform. And they get in. They ask them to come on stage, and they bring their horns and they add. And then the Latinos, the Afro-Cubans, are going to a place called Birdland, where the jazz groups were. And they're mixing and mingling. What we get from jazz is we get the brass section. That comes from jazz. African Americans brought that into the Latino space. That's why in salsa, when they started using the brass, that's where that comes from, the African Americans. But when the African Americans start using the percussion instruments, which they never used before, that comes from the Afro-Cuban.
So right there, he wants you to believe that nobody over here in America, before them Latinos, had drums.
Cubans, and that's why it eventually makes its way into what we called the B-boy breaks.
Here's what I found.
And this is what you see in the B-boy breaks. You hear 95% of the B-boy breaks that were original B-boy breaks contain Latin breakdowns. They contain Latin instruments. It is what drove the B-boy to want to rock even harder. It's that cowbell, it's the congas, it's the timbales, it's the bongos. It's all those instruments. And don't tell me you don't hear them. So we're talking about even songs like Give It Up, Turn It Loose. The first probably B-boy anthem, Give It Up, Turn It Loose, James Brown.
Apache.
And all the others. So my thing is this. We have always rocked together from back then. So to accuse me, now nothing I just said, and I'm sure they're going to find a reason to say I'm anti-black, even with what I just said.
They're doing it right now.
Right. Because the narrative has always been that Latin jazz was created by African Americans.
The reason he don't understand that black people is seeing the anti-blackness and seeing the cultural vulture in them is because black people as a collective, we know how y'all feel. We know that y'all not a part of our community. Y'all might be around us. But y'all ain't one of us like that. That's very rare. Those isolated incidents. You know what I mean? That's why in the beginning of my video, Fat Joe didn't have no problem saying what he said about Lil Mo and Vita in front of the world. Dismissed him and laughed and went around there. That was a personification of how the Latino community really feel about black people. Check it out in the very beginning with how Lil Joe disrespected Ja Rule Norland. Ja Rule didn't even say nothing.
Dizzy Gillespie himself has said it did not. He played a part in it because he added his part. Latin jazz comes from the fathers. Mario Bausa, Chano Pozo, those guys, Tito Puente, and Dizzy Gillespie. That's where it comes from.
Can I just say something really quick? I find all of this is really fascinating to me as a producer and somebody who's been doing hip hop a good majority of my life, like literally like all my life, and it's really kind of funny to me at the same time that we're only talking about one aspect, right? Just talking about the music aspect. Yeah. That's not the entire culture.
Yeah.
Of hip hop.
We're talking about amalgamation, replacement, infiltration of immigrants being led by the tethers that's already here, that has already infiltrated our culture like a fifth column. That's why he going all the way back trying to say James Brown, Woody Woo. He just keep digging to try to correct the initial error when you said that Latinos help black people create hip hop culture or black culture, however you say it. You know what I mean? It's deeper than the music when you look at what's happening on the borders and you look at what's happening in the workforce and you're looking at the fact that if you all keep painting narratives and chipping away at all these accomplishments, black people won't be left with nothing. And they got the highest infant mortality rate, the highest incarceration. What you're seeing is history being replaced. By him even bringing up James Brown in his defense of his Latinism or whatever. Man, nerve. It's deeper than this, though.
And then you're really only talking about breaks. And so I don't understand what the whole uproar is about it. Because if anybody really listens to even drum patterns, if they understand drum patterns, if they understand any type of drum instrument, sometimes they're in there and you don't even realize that they're in there. For some people. I'm not saying all people, but for some people. But me personally, as a producer, I understand some of these things, and I understand.
I'm going to end on this note, and before I go, I'm going to say this. You might think this is irrelevant, and why it may not be as important. Tariq Nasheed's video on this might not be important to you as the ones on color. But this is very important. And they at Tariq because they know he knows. This is an amalgamation. When you start seeing Hispanic Week on BET and honoring Hispanics on Bounce, when the last time you been on Telemundo? They co-opting your culture because they already infiltrated it. And now they cousins is coming from all over to be a cheap labor force to help your government be able to pay them bills to China and for all the wars over there. Yeah, because this is a part of their culture vulture. See, when people say culture vulture, they think of just maybe people like Vlad or people that be on videos. A culture and vulture destroys the culture that he's a host to. They destroy the culture that they're a host to. They eat them. They eat them up until they're no more around. And then you see something different. You know, how many gentrified communities you done seen? Look what's happening in Chicago. It's deeper than what you think it is when it comes to their agenda. Saturday Night Detroit, keep your head on the swivel, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.